What was the general thinking in going for a squad of this size?
Competition drives standards upwards, an increased number in terms of going to Switzerland and do the intense pressure in training and competition will hopefully give us a better opportunity to see our players under the stress levels which they'll experience in those foreign parts, and picking the best available 31 to represent Wales in Rugby World Cup.
9 uncapped players, a couple of new faces, in particular people like Ross Moriarty and Tom Francis. Is that so you can step in ahead of England, give them the caps and make them Welsh, definitely?
No, not at all. I think it's about picking the best players in form. I think that we watched Ross over the last couple of months, and obviously Thomas was with us in the Six Nations and came in for camp for the last couple of weeks. And I think it's going to drive standards. I think that the competition in the back row over the last sort of 4 years, the mainstay of that back row in Toby and Justin and Sam and Dan needs competition. And we think that along with Dan Baker and Ross Moriarty, we'll look at that competition area and hopefully strive standards and keep players on their toes, and I think that's a vital ingredient to a successful Rugby World Cup squad that could be announced in August.
Rob, Ross Moriarty has had a successful spell with England under 20s. Have you had a conversation with him about where his international future lies, who he wants to play for?
I think Warren Gatland and Alan Phillips have had that conversation with Ross. Obviously we spoke to Ross prior to that and announcing him, so I'd like to think those conversations have taken place.
So he's fully committed to playing for Wales?
Obviously.
Dom Day, another new face. What have you seen in him to include him?
Yeah, once again, I think that he's been a mainstay of Bath over the last 6-7 months in the Premiership. I think that obviously, I think Robin McBride can answer that question in terms of technical, tactical ability on the field of play. But once again, we feel he will certainly strengthen that competition. I think that's the buzzword today, Gareth, is about competition for places. I think that over the last 4 years, 17 players who have been announced today represented us back in 2011. There's a fair amount of continuity when you've seen Warren Gatland's squad over the last 2-3 years. I think we've got a lot of experience that have played in big matches, in Grand Slams, in Rugby World Cup semi-finals, and we need to get a lot of competition back into this squad, and we feel the new caps that we've named will certainly enhance and accelerate that process.
Can you tell us, Rob, an update on George Nault's fitness and how far into your preparations you think he'll be able to be involved?
Yeah, of course. George has come through all the protocols of running. He's up and running. He can do his generic fitness. He hasn't gone through the contact protocols, but as you can well imagine, pre-season and training, we don't have to go near the contact protocols yet. We will leave that probably till July, end of July, because ultimately we want to make sure George is right 100%, and delighted that over the last sort of 6-7 weeks that common sense with injuries, head injuries, has taken place, and in particular with George. So he's raring to go. He hasn't played too much rugby, as we all know, but obviously we'll look at the contact protocols later on in July.
Well, we've learnt a lot obviously over the last 4 years. The squad, as you said, the core is the same. Do you feel now with this 47-man party, Wales are stronger than they were 4 years ago?
Look, it's always very difficult when you compare and contrast to 4 years ago. I think in terms of age, we were very young as a squad. Obviously, those 4 years, I think those 4 years of experience, when I looked at the sort of number of caps, you're talking about 300 caps addition. That's the experience, and you hope that experience will put you in good stead as and when that pressure will come in Rugby World Cup. So we've benefited from the players, the 17 players who were there 2011, but we're always looking to evolve, and with the young talent, the additional talent that we've named today, that I'm sure then that will drive standards and competition forward. And as I said to Graham, it's we're really happy with the strength of the squad that we've announced today.